Hi there. In this video, we'll walk you through how to describe a child's development, step by step. Together, we'll explore what that really means and how you can approach it in the best way. You can pause the video at any time or change the speed to watch it slower or faster. Describing means looking at what a child can already do. Every child grows in its own way. That is why it is important that we look and listen carefully. This way, we better understand the child's needs. Before you can describe how far a child is in their development, you must first take the time to really watch and listen. This is called observation. Why is observation important? By watching a child, you learn more about what they do and how they grow. Only after observing is it possible to explain how the child is developing. How do you observe a child? Look at the child's behavior. Think about, what is the child doing? How is the child playing? How does the child talk? How does the child interact with other children or adults? Describe what you see. After watching, try to explain what you saw in simple and clear words. Ask yourself, do I know this behavior? How can I explain it so others can understand? Now that we know how to observe, we will explain different areas of a child's development. Each part of a development has a certain developmental age. Some children do things like a 3-year-old child, others like a 5-year-old child. That's normal. It's an estimate. We introduce you to Musa. Musa is an 8-year-old boy. He has an intellectual disability, which means that he learns more slowly and needs extra support. In this video, we follow Musa step by step so that we can get a clearer picture of the different levels of development he is in. This helps us understand his needs and find the best way to support him. Here you can see the different levels of development. There are many areas you can explore, and we will look at each of them one by one. Children with intellectual disabilities sometimes have difficulties talking. That's why they might use other ways to make something clear. For example, they can point, take someone by hand, or look angry. Children around the age of 1 year can only make sounds, such as crying. This is their way of communicating. As a supervisor or teacher, it is therefore important that you look closely at this behavior. This way, you better understand what the child wants to express, even if it doesn't talk. If children start using words to express themselves, it means their language is developing. A child can speak either one-word sentences, two-word sentences, or multi-word sentences. When a child says only one word to make something clear, we call it a one-word sentence. This often involves the words mom, dad, food, house. These one-word sentences are often spoken between 10 and 18 months. Later, they can express two-word sentences, which means that they can say 2 words in a row. For example, mom market, brother house. It occurs around the age of 18 months. After that, the child starts putting words together and saying short sentences. These are called multi-word sentences. This happens around the age of 3. For example, mom goes market. Some children develop language and vocabulary more quickly than others. Musa can already say mama market. This means Musa speaks in 2-word sentences. So Musa is 8 years old, but is at the language development level of 18 months. Salome is a 2-year-old girl with an intellectual disability. She can say mommy. At what level of language development is she? Salome is using one-word sentences. She is 2 years old, but she talks like a child of about 10 to 18 months. remember that children often return to nonverbal behavior depending on the situations the child is in. For example, if a child is stressed, they often return to behaviors they are used to. So a child can go from speaking one-word sentences to just pointing or making sounds. Motor skills are about how children use their bodies to move. There are gross motor skills and fine motor skills. Gross motor skills are big movements, like walking, sitting on a chair, and jumping. Fine motor skills are small movements, like drawing and using cutlery to eat. Gross motor skills develop as early as 1 year old. Fine motor skills typically develop around the age of 6, but this development often starts much earlier. For example, around 1 year old, when children begin using the pincer grasp to pick up objects. To describe the correct level of development here, it is important to look at what the child can already do. Can the child walk, sit on a chair, draw something, eat with cutlery? Let's look at Musa. As you can see, Musa can already walk, but drawing is still difficult. Musa does well with gross motor skills, but has difficulties with fine motor tasks. This means that Musa's motor skills are still below the level of a 6-year-old child. Cognitive development is about how children learn to think and understand things. This means understanding, thinking about things, and seeing how thoughts can be connected. For example, a child around 2 years old does not yet understand that an object still exists when it is hidden. If you hide the object under a cloth and they can't see it, the child often thinks it is gone and does not exist anymore. This is called object permanence. We take Musa with us. Musa is an 8-year-old boy with an intellectual disability. When an object is hidden behind a tree, Musa also thinks it has disappeared and no longer exists. Even though he is 8 years old, he doesn't yet understand this connection. So, on a cognitive level, he is functioning like a child younger than 2 years old. Cognitive development is a very broad domain. When working with a child with an intellectual disability, it is important to focus on, does the child understand what the teacher means? If the answer is no, then we need to think about how we can explain it differently so that the child does understand. The next area is called the social-emotional development. Children learn to deal with their feelings and with other people. For example, playing together, learning to share, being angry or happy. To describe this level of development, you can skip to the video on theoretical models. This covers different kinds of social and emotional behavior that children may show. Musa will come back in this video. Finally, we will give you some tips. These tips are important to remember when observing and describing a child's developmental level. Tip 1. Observe in different situations. A child does not always show everything to everyone. Observe at different times, during different activities, and with different supervisors. Tip 2. Adapt your approach to the level of development. Understanding a child's behavior is one thing. Helping the child means adjusting to what they can handle, both emotionally and cognitively. Tip 3. Discuss and consult with colleagues. What you don't see, someone else may see. By watching together and sharing experiences, you get a more complete picture. Tip 4. A child may learn slower. Be patient. Development happens in small steps. Focus on growth, not shortages. Tip 5. Try to take a loving approach. This provides a safe environment for the child and more opportunities for the child to grow and learn. We will briefly go over the tips again. 1. Observe in different situations. 2. Adapt your approach to the level of development. 3. Discuss and consult with colleagues. 4. A child may learn slower. Be patient. 5. try to take a loving approach. What you have observed and described can be noted in an individual evaluation plan. In the next video, Part 2, we show you how to do this.